Almost there. Okay.
I call to order this meeting of the Citizens Advisory Council for July 28th, 2022. I am Earl Henry, Chair of the Citizens Advisory Council. Let's go ahead and start with roll call. Guys, we have a good one here today, but let's start with roll call. So as I go down the list here, just say here, if you're here, members. Jessica Nguyen, Kai Shona Person. Well, I know Warren Boone is not here. Donald Belt. Tim Andrew.
Here.
Jason Hicks. And Dr. Kelly Jackson said she's not going to be here. And Robert Sims.
Here.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with prayer. So I'm not sure if someone wants to volunteer. All right, I will do it. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this meeting today. We thank you, Father, for this time. Touch us all as we get ready to discuss this city's business. And Lord, those that are not here, Father, we ask that you touch them as well and their endeavors that they're doing. We pray and we ask for your wisdom. And so, Father, in everything that's being discussed here concerning the seat of High Point, we pray that everything goes forward that will bring you glory and give you glory. We thank you for every panel member and everyone that's going to be presenting today, Lord God. And we thank you for all that you're doing here in High Point and the things are to come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So first on the agenda is approval of the minutes. We don't have a quorum. Oh, man. So we'll have to table that till next month then.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's go to you, Megan, because we'll have to do the minutes next month. So we can't approve the minutes today. So Megan, go ahead and give the neighborhood updates.
Okay, happy to. Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to start out with Burns Hill Neighborhood Association. They're preparing for National Night Out on August 2nd, as many of the neighborhood associations are. Their National Night Out event is taking place at their community garden from 6 to 8 p.m. On Tuesday, August 2nd. They're continuing to see an increase in their the need for food in their community. So the pantry has been very busy and has continued to just rise with the number of folks they're serving. They did distribute food in July on July 7th and 21st. They are also partnering with Welfare Reform Liaison Project on their summer work program. So they have some students helping out in the pantry and in the garden who are being paid via that partnership, and it's been a great success so far. Highland Mills, I don't have an update. London Woods, they also are preparing for National Night Out. Their event is going to be August 2nd from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at Cedro Park. They are working to bring a little more awareness to the little library that they have in Cedro Park. So just was asking folks to spread the word. They're working on making a sign as well for that little library. Oakview, I'll circle back around to Oakview. Person Street, I don't have a report, no report for Southside either. Washington Street, they're also participating in National Night Out on August 2nd. They are moving their Let's Move program this coming Saturday due to inclement weather. So more information on that if you know anyone who either is or wants to be involved. Washington Terrace and West End, no report. Haley Historical, they are also participating in National Night Out. I was able to connect with Tamara Vaughn over at the High Point Museum, and they're looking to reach out to some folks after National Night Out to kind of get things moving back since the pandemic kind of shut things down for that association over there. I have one update for Oakview, and then I'm going to let, or I'll give the any other information. I did speak with Jim Bronner, and he did share that that you all created a Facebook page. It's still under construction and being made, but it's called Feral Feline Friends of North Carolina. So if anyone's interested in learning more about feral cats in the community, I think that'd be a really good resource. I know I have some feral cats in my neighborhood, so I just thought that would be a great thing to share, and he did give me permission to do that. So that is Feral Feline Friends of North Carolina, if you're interested. And then, or I'll hand that over to you if you have any other updates to give for Oakview.
Sure, thanks, Megan. Thanks for mentioning that.
Sure.
I had that on my list, so thanks for doing that. The only other thing is we have National Night Out as well at the Oakview Rec Center on August 2nd. It's going to be from 6 to 8 o'clock. And that being said, is there any other thing concerning neighborhood, the neighborhood that anyone wants to share very briefly before we move on? Because I want to get the other panelists in to discuss the stuff they're gonna do, because concerning the community garden, that's gonna be great. So if you have anything really quick, if you want to jump in, like for example, Robert, if you want anything to share for Burn Hill, you can.
I have one thing.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I will be sending you guys out the National Night Out schedule. I have it for our neighborhoods that will be participating, and I'm waiting for the police department to give me their final number for all others, so that when I send it out, you have everybody's neighborhood, to include possibly the ones in your neighborhoods, your own neighborhoods that are actually participating. So hopefully I'll have that tomorrow, and if not, I'll just send you out what I have. And as it gets updated on Monday, I'll send it out to you also.
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. Okay, all right, let's move on to old business. Michelle or Nina, do you have anything to share for old business?
I do.
Okay.
I would just let you guys know, I want to thank you guys for the time and effort that you took to score our applications for our CDBG grant. We're proud to tell you that Nina presented to the citizens, the CD committee, and also to the city council, and the annual plan was approved, which the request for funds is a part of the annual plan. And so we were able to actually fund every grantee or every application that came through. And so I wanted to let you guys know that I have yet to send that little informal email out to all the agencies, but I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. And then I'll follow it up with a official letter, basically telling them that the grants were approved. And then what I will end up doing is, once I send that out, we'll start the contract process, and I'll be calling in everybody, probably doing a Zoom call. It may be in person, I hadn't decided yet, to go over those contracts with you, to let you know what the do's and the don'ts are, let you know how we are looking for you to do your reporting and everything of that nature with those contracts. And those contracts, the funding cycle, the grant cycle, actually started July the 1st. Well, no, Nina, will we go back to July the 1st since it was just approved by the council?
Yeah, we will. Our plan covers July 1 to June.
Okay, so July 1.
Yes.
So any expenditures, and I'm talking really, Willa, to you, because you're the only one on the call that, has that, and anybody else that might be listening, any expenses that you have incurred for this year's grant now starts with July 1st, and then we move on.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that, Michelle. Let's go ahead and move on. Hey, Nina, do you have anything to share right now, or do you want us to just table it? And again, we don't have a quorum anyway. Do you want us to table till next month?
I don't have anything else that we need to discuss.
Okay.
I had just a couple updates when we get to that point, but that's it.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go ahead and share those updates now?
Okay, sure. Just wanted to go, just to mention everyone, I don't know if maybe you saw on the news, but we've been working with Housing Consultants Group, and it was in the newspaper as well, in a partnership with them and HPCAV to construct the unit over at 802 George Place. And so that unit is complete, has been sold. There was an open house yesterday, and they had a great turnout, great attendance. Of folks just kind of coming, and the property is already sold. The homeowners were there, or the potential buyers, they were there as well. So just got some really good coverage for that. So we do hope that this is the first of many homes that we will be able to partner with them on. And we are also working on, I know that we've done a presentation in the past about the funds that we received under the American Rescue Plan through our home program. And so we have developed an RFP just because of our kind of limited staff right now. We do have a couple of vacant positions. We're going to be doing an RFP for a consultant to help us in development of that allocation plan. So just wanted to let you all know that we are going to get ready to start that process. If you recall, we received about $1.9 million. And so we will start working on the citizen participation process, the consultations with agencies and things like that to develop our allocation plan so that we can get that submitted to HUD. And so that's all I had as far as updates. All right.
Thank you so much, Nina.
Thanks.
Let's go ahead and go into new business. And the reason why I put this, I switched these around is because I wanted to give our presenters time to do their stuff, as well as if there were any questions from the panel, we'll devote more time to that. So first up is we have a presentation on community gardens and access to fresh produce from Gabby. So Gabby, go ahead and take it away.
I thought I was just doing my Vista presentation.
You are.
Okay. Oh, that's what we're doing now. Cool. Perfect. Okay. Let me. Okay. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So for those who don't know, my name is Gabby, and I was the HPU AmeriCorps Vista at the City of High Point this year. And today was my last day. And so one of my requirements for my Vista term was to create transition documents for the girl who's taking my place. And so this is what I created for her. And this is kind of going to help me. It's kind of helped me reflect on what I did this year. Just because everything that I did, I'm passing on to her to continue. So I'm just going to use what I made for her to present to you guys today. So I just started off, I wrote her a nice little letter and just congratulated her for dedicating her next year, her life to service, and that she's going to have such a good year, and that her heart's in the right place for dedicating a year of her life to service, that there's going to be good days and bad days, but at the end of the day, what matters is that you show up and stay consistent. And I think that was one of my biggest takeaways this year, was that I was Michelle's first Vista. So I really did not know what the heck was going on most of the time. But what I learned was that literally just coming into the office every single day, like you get the hang of it and you learn what's going on. And so just like validating her in that and letting her know that, like, just to stay consistent, keep showing up. And then also I told her that she'd have lots of opportunities to collaborate with a lot of organizations. She'll meet food pantry directors, she'll meet all the community garden leaders, and just people in High Point who are dedicated to making this community a better place to live. And so, yeah, I just started off with a little note, and then I kind of briefed her of the community, or of the Community Development and Housing Division, and which divisions we are, and like the divisions within the community development and housing department. So I won't go over that because obviously you guys know what they are, but yeah. And then the VAD. So VAD stands for Vista Assignment Description. So basically these are, I guess I can describe them as goals that Vistas came in with during the year. And so I had 4 goals that I wanted to complete. The first one was I wanted to develop, implement, or improve education programs on community gardens and healthy eating within neighborhoods. I'm not going to go into this small font, but if you'd like a copy of this, let me know. And then my second goal was to contribute to outreach efforts related to food security. My third goal was to engage more neighborhoods in creating community gardens and other parts of a healthy food systems. And then my fourth goal was to promote service as part of citizenship and an engaged education among students and faculty. So these were kind of the things I worked on all year long with different projects. And then she'll get a copy of her VAD, but I just wanted to include that so she can see it in like a prettier color and gets excited about it. And then I included food security facts and stats because we are food systems Vistas, and I got these from the Greater High Point Food Alliance website. And one of the things that I thought was super intriguing when I started my Vista term was that High Point used to be number 2 in the nation for food insecurity, and the fact that now we're number 14 just shows how impactful that the work we're doing is. And so that was really encouraging on the days that I was kind of just like, what is this for? No one cares. But yeah, so I just wanted to include that for her too. Okay, and then I'm going to get into the types of things, kind of projects, committees I worked on, and that she'll be taking over. So the first was urban ag. I think Mark was one of the first people that I met besides Michelle for Vista. I went to the public library and he sat me down and just threw so much at me. And he was like, yeah, you're going to be leading the community garden leader meetings. You're going to also attend the urban ag meetings, and you're going to be the liaison between the community garden leader meetings. And I definitely had to confirm with both Willa and Michelle, I'd be like, are we sure that I'm the one doing this? But yeah, so Urban Ag is a group of community leaders who meet every month to discuss how High Point can promote growing one's own food. And the things that I kind of worked on for Urban Ag was keeping a running list of the cost of tools for new gardeners. So this was like the first thing I started doing when I was at Vista. I kept an Excel sheet of different tools and seeds and kind of compared them from Home Depot to Lowe's. And I believe it's published on the High Point Garden website now. But I just kind of did that all year. Just so when people were starting a garden, or people who were continuing their garden wanted to see how much an addition to their garden or an additional tool would cost, so it would just be all in one place. And then update nutrition information with Eli from Public Health. So this is something I'll touch on later. But this was something I really enjoyed doing this year, just because, like, I mean, if you go on the website, on the garden website through the public library now, it says like nutrition information coming soon. So just to kind of step in and start this project was really cool. And then I'll show you guys what I did for that a little later. And then being the liaison between community garden leader meetings and urban ag and providing updates. Obviously, I just touched on that. And then assist the bonners in keeping the website updated and user-friendly. So I know that there's a bonner who helps Mark out with the public library garden portion of the website. And since I kind of had access to the community garden leaders this year, I would take ideas that they had and like give them to the bonners who updated the website. So that was a way that I assisted them through that, and the way that the new Vista can do as well. And then I just included a little tidbit about neighborhood leaders in CAC, because I don't think, and Michelle, you can correct me, but I don't think it's like vital that Vistas go to the meetings, but it is like, if you have information to share, then like it is important, because the information or like the education tools, like the wellness presentation that I did, gets passed on throughout the neighborhoods. And so I just kind of included this as like an encouragement to keep putting information out there, because it will get passed on throughout the community and it will be really helpful. And then the food summit. So the food summit is an event that happens every year through the Greater High Point Food Alliance. And myself and my roommate Gabby, the Greater High Point Food Alliance Vista, were put on this planning committee at the very beginning of our Vista term. And I mean, I think a lot of you went to this, but it ended up being online, but there was a minute where we thought it was going to be in person, and then COVID numbers spiked, but it was just a lot of back and forth, planning different topics, what we're going to talk about, doing the different graphics, just like literally from August to January, we were on these calls every single week planning this. And so this really helped my confidence a lot in Vista, just because I was on these calls and I was like, oh, no one really like cares what I have to say. Like my input doesn't matter. But then like someone would be like, Vistas, what do you guys think? And they would actually like, oh yeah, that's actually very good input. So that was really good for me. And I hope that the food summit gets to be in person this year, because I feel like that would be a lot better. And then recipe cards. So this was probably probably the best project I got to do this year. And Michelle kind of helped me come up with this idea, but I worked with Greater High Point Food Alliance to update their community resource guides this year, which have all the hours of all the food pantries in High Point. And so I got to call all of them and I got to know all of them, which was really cool. And some of them didn't answer the phone. They didn't like answering the phone. So I got to just go and like, I would just pull up to their food pantry to be like, hi, my name is Gabby. Let me help you type thing, and get to know them that way. So that was really cool. And they were just so nice and so appreciative. And I think this project was also really transformative for me, because I remember one of the first things Michelle assigned me to do was to cold call all the food pantries, get to know them. And I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. That's kind of, I don't know. I think I was just very timid and was like, they don't really care what I have to say. But I eventually like just stepped into doing that, and they're all super nice. And then the recipe cards kind of came out of that. I just basically the food in the food pantry, like I don't really know how to cook. So I would be like, if I like consistently, I mean, I would just appreciate recipe cards anyway. So like, I feel like having this resource would be helpful. So I started making, let me try to show you guys. Well, yes. Okay. So I made some, can you guys see these? Okay. I made recipe cards for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And these, I probably distribute around 1,000 of these to the different food pantries in High Point. And then I would just make them like randomly throughout the year. So I made some that were just focused on chickpeas, which was really cool. Like I did not know you can make chocolate chip cookies from chickpeas. And I feel like chickpeas is a food that food pantries have and they can't get rid of because no one knows what the heck to do with chickpeas. So just like creating this and like having like one document that's like, here's like actually a bunch of things you can do with the chickpeas was really cool. And like Jerry works in the office and he was like, our clients love these. So that was really encouraging. Yeah. And then Carl would send out the TFAP list every month. And so I kind of just like based what recipes I made off of that. Like TFAP is like, it kind of gives a list of which foods the food pantries have access to. And so, yeah, I just kind of went off of that. But yeah, peanut butter bars, peach cobbler, like all of these things. I'm like, wow, I would make all these if in general. So yeah. And then Mlk Day of Service. So this was something the Vistas had to do through HPU. Usually Vistas create one project we kind of start putting it together in October. And then it happens on Mlk Day of Service. But since the city of High Point works with multiple organizations, I had 4 different projects that I organized for the community and for HPU students. And then all of them ended up getting postponed because it snowed on Mlk Day. So it took like a month or so to get all of them rescheduled. But the 4 projects that I did so this is a picture of the women's soccer team. We went to World Relief and cleaned up their entire like storage area, and they share a space with this church. And so we like divided like World Relief stuff on one side and the churches on the other. And it did not take that long because there's so many of them. So that was really good. And then we also, there was a group, I think it was mostly the pharmacy club. They went to the West End thrift store at the beginning of February and helped organize all of they got a lot of donations over Christmas. And so they're kind of cleaning out their store for the new year. So that was cool to organize. And then the last two was that I organized a garden work day for East Street. And I can't remember the other garden, one of the other gardens. Maybe it wasn't Vista. Mila, do you know which one it was? I can't even remember.
So big group, we had like 25 students that came to the Urban Orchard.
Oh yeah.
And you were there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And so basically we just had students come out to the Urban Orchard. We had them dig holes for the fruit trees that are going to be there, which is super exciting. And then for the East Street Garden, we had one of the fraternities on HBU's campus build 3 garden beds, which it honestly worked out so well because it was this random day in February, but it was like 60 degrees and like everyone was just so happy. The sun was shining. So that was really cool. But yeah, Mlk Day of Service, that's something the next Vista will have to start planning early on. But yeah, hopefully they'll get to only have to do 1 project instead of 4. Yeah, the next organization I worked with was A Simple Gesture. So basically, A Simple Gesture is a national organization based out of Greensboro. And how they work is you sign up to be a donor, and donors get green bags. And basically each time they go to the grocery store, they buy their groceries and then pick up 1 extra can of food and place it in the green bag all throughout the month. And so ideally by the end of the month, you have a full bag of food. And then drivers for A Simple Gesture will come around, pick up the bags, and then drop them at a food pantry. And I believe they partner with 6 food pantries in High Point currently. But their High Point person reached out to me and was trying to see if we could get a partnership with HPU to get A Simple Gesture onto HPU. And I would say we were sort of successful with this. We had one food drive event with the Bonner program, which was kind of cool. The Bonner's name was Layla, and she hosted a game night. And basically, entry into the game night was a can. And so after the event, she had all of these cans of food and got to drop them off at West End, which was really cool. And then around the same time that ended, the Food Recovery Network Club on HBU kind of reformed. And so they basically, after dinner at the CAF, they'll go to the CAF every Friday and wrap up food and then bring it to Open Door or bring it to just different organizations. And so I was trying to see if we could get a partnership with A Simple Gesture and the Food Recovery Network. And I believe they're having a canned food drive in August at the first women's soccer game of the year. I could be wrong, but since I worked with the women's soccer team for MLK, I was just oh, this is kind of perfect. We could do sporting events to have canned food drives. And I feel it'd be super easy for HPU students because they're just college students and there's a lot of them. So just having that demographic of people, I feel would help A Simple Gesture a lot and would affect a lot more people. And then the nutrition guide. So this is what I also worked with Mark on this. So I think this was another MLK project. We got a bunch of seeds from this seed company in Asheville, and a lot of HBU students packed them up, and then we took them over to a cooperative extension for cooperative extension to distribute throughout Greensboro and High Point. So basically the idea behind the nutrition guides was to create something so that people knew what they were growing and how it affects their body to kind of entice them more to grow things. And so this is what they look like. So I kind of made a whole thing, why should I start a garden, how to garden. I got a lot of advice from different garden leaders and put that in. And then I did some for carrots, tomatoes, squash, cilantro, just the different seeds that we had access to. So I think that is still in the works. Like I finished my part of it, but I think it's still being reviewed because I think Mark and Eli from Guilford County Public Health were working on that. And so I sent it over and I think they're still looking at it. But that was one of the things I told Sarah to just follow up on because I feel like this could be really helpful for someone, especially like who's never gardened before, to like know how these vegetables affect their body and how good they are for them. Yeah. And then the vacant lot. So this was something that Chloe Lewis actually just texted me about a month ago. So this was like, we were just kind of planning for the next Vistas, but Chloe, I think it was Chloe who had the idea. Maybe it was you, Willa, who told her, but she seemed really confident about it. So basically, Chloe came to me with the idea to start kind of identifying vacant parking lots in High Point to create more community gardens and more access to growing healthier foods. And I believe Mark and Patrick Harmon have already started doing this. But I think we're trying to make it more of a Vista project. And so I just said for her to work with the Growing High Point Vista to start that next year. But I feel like that could be a really cool project if that becomes reality. And then I just told Sarah to spend the first few weeks of Vista emailing the community garden leaders and calling food pantry directors individually, just introducing herself, asking when's a good time to meet them. Just because if you know all of them and someone calls asking to like, where can I go to get food? You already have a whole list of places to refer them to, and you know the people, so you know they're friendly, and you know, oh, you can talk to Louise Barnes at Ward Street Community Resources. She's so sweet. Like, tell her I sent you type thing. And so I found this really helpful during Vista. And then, like I said, I was really scared about calling people cold. And so I included a cold calling script just so they would have something to go off of and not wait a long time to do it. And then I like printed this out. And so I put the food pantry director's contact like after this page, and then same with the community garden leaders. And then the last project that I worked on this year, and I feel like I've been working on this project forever, is I've been helping the High Point Community Foundation with their dental clinic. And so I don't know if you guys saw the article that Joe Blosser wrote about the Vistas back in January, but I guess someone in the community saw it as a help wanted ad and was like, oh, I'm planning this event and you have all of these amazing Vistas who do community service. Would any of them be willing to help me? And Joe was like, oh yeah, Gabby's got it, whatever. So basically there's a dental clinic that's happening in September for community members who don't have dental insurance. And there's dentists from all over North Carolina coming to volunteer to do like teeth cleanings, teeth extractions, and it's all free. And so they're wanting to provide breakfast and lunch for the dentists who are coming in. And so I've been reaching out to different restaurants in High Point, trying to see if they'd be willing to donate, have anything to donate, if they'd be wanting to donate. Like, for example, I got in contact with Panera and they're donating 100 bagels and like 5 tubs of cream cheese, which is super helpful. And then the other layer to this project was that this event was supposed to happen in 2020, but then got postponed due to COVID. So they already had a bunch of people commit. And so I basically was just going back over the list and then adding some more people being like, hi, is this still something that you're able to do? And so that was really cool because I got to meet a bunch of restaurant owners, which is not something I thought I'd be able to do. Like, I mean, I didn't think that was something that would ever happen. And like there was one point where like I just called every single Food Lion in High Point for like canned soda, like if they could donate some sodas or like gift cards or something. So I just had like Food Lion all in my recent calls. So again, not something I ever thought would happen in my life, but this year has just been, it's taught me to go with the flow a lot. Like Michelle told this to me when I first started Vista, your day is never going to be your day. And I have found that to be so true. But yeah, so those are the main things I did this year. I just want to thank you all so much. It's been so good getting to work with you, Michelle and Megan. literally been my lifelines this year. Like, I had some dark moments this year, not gonna lie. And so just getting to come into the office every day and work with you guys, Megan having that literal like month where we would get each other coffee every single day, like that just really was such a light in my life. And I'm just super appreciative for this year. And thank you all for all the work that you do. It's really, really important. As someone who like came into it not really knowing and has been able to see transformation, like it really does matter. And I'm just really thankful I got to be a part of it. So thanks for letting me present, and thanks for having me in the office all year, Michelle. Can't wait to come bug you when I come home to visit.
Well, since Gabby has finished, can I just say a few things?
Sure, yes.
Before you
I was
guys
gonna
ask
ask him.
questions?
Yes, go right ahead. Mhm.
I was just gonna say that the food card, the recipe cards that she was talking about, the idea was to actually get food that's in the pantry and to take the food that people get and make them into recipes that people can enjoy. Because a lot of times what happens is people will open up the can, pour it in the pot, and cook it, and kids may or may not eat it. But she was trying to get it where they could mix things that they get out of the pantry, and they wouldn't have to pay any extra money, and make recipes to make them enjoyable for families. And so she started out with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I think she did a wonderful job. Everybody was calling for those, all the pantry was calling for those recipe cards that she did. And so I thought that was really great. And as Gabby was talking, you guys can see how partnership is so important, because she talked about different agencies like Growing High Point, and like the Food Alliance, and like North Carolina Corporate Extension, and like the library, and all those type things she talked about, where people are working together behind the scenes to make sure where that number 2 that she talked about, where High Point was, it came out now to number 14. That's because of all the people working together to make this happen. And it's like no one person, but it's everybody. And so, and as you listen to her talk, she talked about, and she hit all those agencies that's doing a good job. And then just to tell you guys this, today is Gabby's official, well, tomorrow's her official last day, but today was her last day as the Vista volunteer with the city of High Point, or her last day as a Vista volunteer altogether. And she's been with us since last August. And so hopefully we will soon be getting a new person in. And Gabby can tell you, just before you guys ask questions, where she's headed to next.
So I'll be I'm moving to Athens, Georgia in 16 days to get my master's in social work at the University of Georgia. So yeah, those are my future plans.
Wow, congratulations. You are leaving. You're going to the state I just came from.
Really?
Yep.
Dang.
Yep. So we can probably discuss offline places to eat there in
Oh,
Athens. And stuff
I
like
need that. I need that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gabby. One of the things that I wanted to say, being part of the High Point University AmeriCorps Vista, ever since you got in, is you've always had this breath of fresh air. So that's one of the things that you may want to pass on to the next person, is when they call, is to have that breath of fresh air, because it makes you want to listen to what you have to say, and then it invites you in to go, okay, yeah, I want to help, or give information to you, as well. So
thanks. That's so kind.
Yeah,
of you
no
to
problem.
say.
No problem. Is there anyone on the panel that has any questions for Gabby?
Rob just put in the chat box that it was a great presentation, and that he would like to have a copy of the presentation.
Okay, I'll email it to you, Michelle, and then you can forward it out if that
I would
works.
also like a copy, Gabby. I thought it was great.
It is excellent. Yes.
Thank you.
We can use those recipe cards, Gabby.
I'll send them over to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
During my
Yeah,
my 1 hour at the office that I'm coming in. But
Yeah,
sounds
the
good.
point that touched me was the slide that you had, or the guides, where if you want to when it comes to getting different seeds and
Mhm.
how to plant and all that stuff. Those are valuable information because there are a lot of people that will plant stuff, but they're not sure exactly what to do or how to do it, what to look
Right.
out for. So that guide really helps them a lot.
Thanks.
Well, okay. Up next, Willa with Growing High Point.
Thank you. And if you'll give me just a moment here to share my screen.
No problem. But Will, I just saw you a couple of days ago.
I know, and Aurel, I apologize if you're going to see some of the same slides
Oh,
again.
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, and can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, super. Super. So my Zoom frame is covering up part of it. So, but I hope y'all can see it. So thanks so much for having us here, and thank you for investing in Growing High Point's work. We're a pretty small organization and a very young organization as nonprofits go, and we are growing at lightning speed. So, there's a lot to be done. We have lots of great ideas. All of you have lots of great ideas. We try to listen to that and take it all into account. But I've been here about almost not quite 2 years now, and I'm so impressed with the community and how Michelle said we're all working together, and that's so true, and it's so exciting. And we welcome input. I just want to say that from the get-go. If you have suggestions, we have open ears. So, so my PowerPoint's not working. How do I make it advanced? Okay, there we go. So why urban agriculture? And I know we're talking primarily about community gardens, but just in general, and I gave this presentation a few days ago at the High Point Chamber Connect, but there's a lot of academic studies from around the world that show that urban agriculture works, that it improves food security, it provides jobs and business opportunities. It helps prevent community decline. And I would say even going further, it helps improve communities. And it also provides access in food deserts. But when we think about High Point in general, and you guys know all this, you look at these numbers all the time, but we have communities of concentrated poverty up to 51%. And for kids, it's even higher. These are the areas where Growing High Point works are primarily those census tracts that y'all are very aware of that are green when you pull up the USDA atlas, and they're designated food deserts or immediately adjacent to those designated food deserts. And we have a lack of affordable quality food in these areas, and we know that. But more recently, we've also been experiencing sticker shock at the grocery store. At least I have. I don't know if anybody else has. But, and we know that there's supply chain issues. I remember going to Publix one day because it's the closest grocery store to my house to pick up milk for my granddaughter. And they were totally out of milk. And it was during the pandemic. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. A major grocery store totally out of milk. And it wasn't snowing either. So, so all of these pressures are on our communities. And then you add on top of that, like there seemed to be an abundance of food for the pantries in the beginning of the pandemic, but now we're seeing that decline dramatically. So Growing High Point, this is a schematic, and I'm not going to go through this in detail, but it talks about the different circles that are our work. But in the center of that, and the thing that we try to never lose sight of, is that our ultimate goal is to transform High Point core city communities. We want to make them happier, better places to live. And that's what we're all about. The circles on the outside are the way we go about doing our work. And I'm going to talk about most of those further down. So this is Walnut Street. This is an example of a vacant lot that we took on. And on the right is when we first built the raised beds there. And so it's not hard to see the change. And yes, it's a positive change, but what we're trying to do is deeper than just the aesthetic qualities of change. And this is a picture of Vista Garden down on Sheffield Place, or Getty Place, actually. And when we transform vacant lots, we're also trying to feed the community. So there's another piece to this, and there's a long story behind this garden that I'm not going to tell that today because I don't have all the time, but it's an interesting story. So if you ever, you can always ask me about it later. This is East, and Gabby mentioned East Avenue Community Garden. Yes, we built 3 raised beds there. And if you notice, they're taller, and many of our communities are requesting these taller raised beds. They're more expensive because lumber has gone through the roof. It also takes a lot more soil to fill them up. But we're fortunate with our relationship with the city in providing the soil and mulch grants. But you'll see in the background, Jose is working on 4 more galvanized steel beds that we installed at East Avenue. They last longer. They're comparable in price now because lumber's gotten so much more expensive. So we're also looking for ways that we just replaced beds that had been there for about 5 years. And so we know what the lifespan is on the lumber beds. And this is a way that we're trying to create a more sustainable future for the community gardens. So we're also fostering urban ag entrepreneurs. And here you see a picture of 2 of our farmers in training. So there's real promise in urban agriculture for individuals or groups of people to supplement their income, not only just grow additional food for themselves and their family, and maybe to share with their most immediate neighbors, but you can actually make money by selling your produce. And so we provide that opportunity, we provide the training, and we provide the access to land, the infrastructure that people need to do that. And just like we do for community gardens. So if someone's really super great at their community garden and they have aspirations to do a little bit more, then we would love to work with them and help them to get started. But we don't just stop with the training and setting them up and with everything they need to get started. We also provide ongoing mentoring. We were able to hire Jose Abreu in December of last year. So he's been with us throughout this growing season this year. It's made a tremendous difference. And also we promote networking. So the staff of Growing High Point, they are invited always to go to all the chamber events, to all the community meetings, and that's paid time. So we want them to be deeply embedded in the community. We don't want them to just be doing this on the side and be isolated from the rest of the community. So we promote that community building. We got tickets for all of them to go to the recent update luncheon, and they love it. They love going. They love being considered a part of the community as well. We also promote innovation. So here the farmers in training are in the greenhouse. We also have a high tunnel. We have hydroponics on our mind. That sounds like a new song. So we're always thinking about new ways to do the work. So lettuce is one of the most popular products that we have, and people are always wanting lettuce. our lettuce stopped growing about, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're still getting lettuce from other sources, but we want to be able to provide what people really want to purchase, or what we can share with the food pantries. So the Food Hub also is a big part of what we do. It's available to our community gardens and to our urban farmers for processing, packaging, and storing. Although our storage space is getting smaller, it looked really big back in the winter, but it's looking pretty small right now. The other thing we're able to do there is aggregate produce from other sources, like farmers who are nearby, but not necessarily part of the Growing High Point network. And it's a great place for people to drop off donations. Rebecca Copland dropped off some cucumbers today. Winnie Merritt's dropping off tomatoes tomorrow. St. Mary's brings us produce from their gardens. And most of those donations go into our senior food box delivery program. We're also getting donations from the other farmers who are at the farmers market on Saturdays. And so we do the senior food box delivery on Tuesdays. So we try to get everybody to drop off all their donations either on Friday or Monday. And then Tuesday, we know what we have for our senior food boxes. And if we have an excess, which has happened here at the height of the growing season, I send Rebecca Dobbins an email, and she sends it out to the food pantries. And then they come by. It's sort of first come, first serve. And recently we gave out like 175 pounds of squash, and I don't know how many cucumbers. I don't remember what that was, but just boxes and boxes of produce that we were able to share with the food pantries free of charge. So that's wonderful, because we have the Food Hub and the way to store it and see what we have and make sure we have enough for our donation program, but then share it with others as well. So it's not just about produce either. We have a beekeeping program. We'll have another cohort that starts up in February. We just harvested about 35 pounds of honey from 1.5 hives. And so next year we will have 5 hives, because we started 3 new ones this year. And we're eager for people to become a part of this program. It not only is a wonderful product and like $8 for an 8-ounce jar, but it's also healthy. It's great for especially kids who have allergies and that sort of thing. And it also boosts our crop production. So when we have hives near our farms, they only have to be in a 3-mile radius, and all of our farms are within a 3-mile radius. It helps pollinate and therefore boost crop production. So the markets are really super important, and establishing markets for our farmers. And we do that, of course, through the farmers market and Grodega, also restaurants and contracts. Contracts is something new for us this year. So there's a program that the state has already gotten the money, and they're going to start distributing that next year. It will pay local farmers to provide food to food pantries, and we want to be ready to take advantage of that. So, and not just us, but everybody else in our area. So that's a real opportunity. It's an opportunity to get some really super fresh, close local food to our local pantries. So that's exciting. All of you know about Grodega. You've supported it, and thank you so much in the past. Grodega's sales in the first 6.5 months of this year are more than double what they were in 9 months last year. So we know it's working. We always will have challenges, like everybody does. Grodega's in the shop right now. So we are working very, very hard to get a second vehicle. We had set aside money, and we have $18,000 set aside for a vehicle. We thought that was plenty of money to buy a used van. Well, lo and behold, Ford Transit vans are selling for like 10 to 12, $15,000 over the manufacturer suggested retail price right now, the new ones. You can, if you can even get one. And the used ones cost more than the new ones did a year ago. So I'm hoping that will calm down a little bit here when we get to fall, but we're actively working to try to get that second vehicle. So when Grodega's in the shop, that we don't have to just stop our food delivery. So that's high on my list. The main thing about Grodega is we make the food available and affordable in food deserts. I still want to do a better job of getting the word out that we provide a 50% EBT discount. It's just a challenge letting people know. So those of you who hear me talk about this, I talk about it a lot, so I don't want to bore you, but I'll keep moving. Another way we address food insecurity is our senior food box delivery program. We have 18 families that we deliver on a weekly basis, and they get beautiful boxes of produce. We know that poverty and poor health are linked, and we know that poor folks they just are not as healthy as their wealthier counterparts, and it's unfair. And fresh food is one of the panaceas for that. So we also share our harvest, as I mentioned earlier, by getting donations from our community gardens. You know, they are typically growing more than they're using in their own community. And we have 4 or 5 that are regularly dropping off donations at the food hub now that we can use. Another way we're addressing food insecurity is with the Southside Community Orchard. I've stopped calling it an urban orchard. I think a community orchard might sound better, so that's what we're going to put on our sign. This is just a sketch that Natalie Lucas drew up. She's working with us on developing the signage for that. We've already gotten the signs for the individual trees, but we want a nice community sign that sort of explains who we are and what we're doing there and why there's an orchard in the middle of the city. So we're really excited about that. And here's a photograph. This photograph's a couple of weeks old of the orchard, but these poles that you see back here are the trellis system for the muscadine grapes. We have apples, peaches, pears, blueberry bushes, figs. Did I say peaches? So it's going to be awesome, and we're going to continue to add things to this throughout the year. So we want to get some perennial flowers in there as well. We've already purchased the materials for the raised beds that will have only strawberries, and hopefully we'll get community volunteers to help us keep those strawberries weeded. So we're having our ribbon cutting for the community orchard on Friday, September 23rd at noon. It's going to be in conjunction with Southside Renewal Foundation, and we haven't advertised this yet or sent out any information, but I wanted to tell all of you about it so you can get it on your calendars, because of course all of you realize that the orchard, it was funded by the Community Development Department. So we are thrilled about that. And the city's been very helpful and supportive in everything that we've been doing there. But so Southwest Renewal Foundation installed a pollinator garden adjacent to the orchard, which is wonderful. It will attract butterflies and other pollinators. And so they are having a butterfly release, which will be really exciting and fun. So I hope you can all come out for that. I encourage everybody to sign up for our newsletter if you aren't already, and follow us on Facebook. We have lots of volunteer opportunities, and we just started a gardening club, and this is the social aspect of what we're trying to do, which is to, rather than just get individual volunteers to come out and pull weeds on a hot July day, which can be kind of daunting, doing something in the evenings where people can come out, get to know each other from all parts of town, come out and join in, and we'll move that around from place to place as we move forward. So we're just getting started with that. And it rained this Tuesday night, so we didn't have it. And I wanted to make everyone aware that we are having a local food fair. It's September 24th. We are partnering with the Unity Festival. This will be their 12th annual Unity Festival. Rather than start a different new event, we asked the Unity Festival if we could throw in with them and have our local food fair every year when they have the food festival. And they said yes, and I was so happy. So we want to grow that over time, and we have lots of educational opportunities and just a day for people to come out and have fun. And it'll be focused also on nutrition and education. So that's kind of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Well, I got one question. The last slide you had mentioned about the Unity Festival.
Yes.
And in the what time is that going to be? Do you know?
Yes, noon to 5 p.m.
Okay.
So, and then we're inviting the farmers from the farmers market to come down later in the afternoon and join us there too. I actually asked them if they'd like to move the farmers market that day, and we would have made it an all-day event, but they said they've tried that in the past and it didn't work very well. So they were not inclined to do that. So, but yeah, we're going to make it available to them. And yeah. So we will also be handing out some free gardens in a pot that day. We're going to, the big gallon, or I guess, I'm not sure what the size is, but it's the big pots will have collard greens, onions and sage in pots, and we're going to prepare 100 of those to pass out to the community, just to encourage people to do more gardening on their own.
Willa, I had a question. The gardening club, do you have a graphic that you can send out to us, or somewhere online where the information, like we could link in an email or something like that?
Well, I would normally say yes, absolutely, but now Chloe's gone. Today was her last day too. But what we do is we post it on Facebook, and we send out our newsletter, and we typically do. So if I can go back. So I just lifted this off of Facebook, and I think she did this in Canva. So I should probably be able to go in and update it and get it reposted without too much trouble. But yes, this is the only thing we have right now. And it's really been by word of mouth and through the newsletter that we've been encouraging people to come.
That's
well,
awesome.
if you can send us a copy of your presentation, I can send it out to the group and they can have that information also.
Sure, love to.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Willa, are you going to get another Vista to replace Chloe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but they don't come in till the 15th, right? I think we don't get them for another couple of weeks.
Okay. And then I just had one other question for you, Willa. You had mentioned about the volunteer. I think it's every month. Is that correct?
Well, we have a variety of volunteer opportunities. So our urban farmers who are already independent farmers, they make a request to us. Like I think we're having a work day for Andre Davis this week on Thursday. So, and we just post all of that on our Facebook, and we send out the newsletter. So that's why it's so critical that people sign up, because we don't, except for the garden club, it's not a routine garden day, but we've also talked about doing that. But it's really hard because of the weather and whatever, I think Jose's like 1 or 2 days ahead. Well, with like, okay, this needs harvesting, this needs weeding. And he's always playing catch up, right? Because we need like 3 of him. But yeah, so it's not, we're not always able to tell people a week ahead of time, but we try to get it out every Friday, our newsletter, so that people are aware of what the volunteer opportunities for the next week will be.
And Will always sends me a copy of the newsletter that I send out to the neighborhood leaders. So I can actually send that out to you guys. And then once you get copies, then you can see where you can subscribe and get your own copies.
Yes, and there's a place to sign up on our website, growinghighpoint.org.
All right. Thank you so much, Willa.
Thank you.
Yeah. So good what you're doing in the community. Is there anyone else that has anything else before we move forward? Okay. All right, next we're gonna have Crystal with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension for Guilford County. And it's so good to see you, Crystal.
Yeah, we've met
Yes, we did.
in
Yes.
the garden.
We did, exactly.
Uh-huh.
But yes, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Okay.
I think Will is trying to unshare.
Yes. Okay.
Oh.
Are you
I'm
okay?
sorry. I'm just sitting here in bliss, not worrying about a thing.
Mhm.
Okay, there, you got it.
I got it. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Crystal Mercer. I am the Community and School Gardens Agent for the North Carolina Cooperative Extension. And I started January 1st. And this is a report I made to the High Point City Council. And it's a report from January 1st through April 30th. And I just want to show you of all the things that happened in a very, very, very short period of time in High Point. And here's my manager, Heather Schaefer. She is the County Extension Director and Community Resource Development. And she started in March. I started in January, she started in March. Okay, this is about the support for new and existing gardens. And the City of High Point has a community garden assistance program. And it's been around for a few years, and it provides free mulch, soil, and leaf compost to our gardeners, our organizations and neighborhood groups. We only did 6 grants in that short period of time, and let me see. I think I got a copy of my screen is showing half of that. But with just those 6 grants, total of $453. And we gave out 1.5 tons of wood mulch, 45 tons of topsoil, and 18 tons of compost, which is a market value of $1,400, okay? So that equates to $17 a ton for mulch and $22 a ton for everything else. That made a savings to the city of $957. And this is the part that the city council members were very interested in, because we would like to include the public school systems of High Point into this program. So the City of High Point council members asked me for more information. So I came up with a needs assessment, and I'm going to get that out as soon as we can work on the logistics of it, as far as if there's any word changes or something that we need to add. But there's a needs assessment that's going to go out, and it's going to ask the public schools in High Point what their needs are and how important it is to them. And then we'll come back and make another report to the city council members, because they're going to hold off on a vote until there's more information, and they're waiting on me, okay? There are 43 community gardens in High Point. 8 are neighborhood gardens, 14 are school, 4 are youth, 9 are community organizations, and 8 are urban agriculture. My job is to help agencies, communities, congregations, and individuals start a community garden, and my focus is sustainability. So once I make sure that I go out and talk to the members about community gardens, and we talk about, I do a site visit and we talk about everything from where's your water source coming from? What does your budget look like? Who's the leader? Do you have any volunteers? So sustainability is very, very important, because you don't want to start a garden, put all the effort in it, spend the money, and it doesn't make it. So, but as far as new startups, there were 5 startups between that short period of time in High Point, and there were 4 in Greensboro. There are 2 events that the Seeds to Share is what I manage. And the Seeds to Share is a year-round event. It's a yearly event, but the seeds are given away free year-round, okay? The seeds are given to the community and school gardens of Guilford County. The second part of this food process program is Share the Harvest. If you know about Share the Harvest, it's run by an all-volunteer organization. They're the ones who recruit volunteers. They go out and they pick up produce that gardeners donate, and then they distribute them out to local food pantries and community kitchens. The Seeds to Share is a process. Seeds are our volunteers in Greensboro will send out letters to local nurseries and other businesses to ask for donated seeds. That usually happens in May, at the end of their season, when they're they're finishing selling their seeds. So that's where we come in at, and that's where they'll give away seeds. Well, we were short last year. When I got hired, the process hadn't started, and we were scrambling around trying to get seed companies to donate seeds. And honest to goodness, all we had was like a trunk load of seeds to give out to people. And the heavens opened up, and a company called Seeds International donated 24,000 packages of seeds. It came in bulk containers, but the volunteers at the High Point University students, they packaged those seeds. So it was 24,000 vegetable seed and herb seeds that they did for us. That saved the day. This is all through High Point University. I think you have see some familiar faces here, Gabby K, Gabby B. They delivered those packages of seeds to my office in Greensboro, and it took 2 cars to do that. And if you can tell, there's still snow and ice on the ground. Like I said, the heavens opened up and it kept flowing. Second Harvest Food Bank came through with 200 packages of more vegetables. And then Shalika Means brought in 200. And then the next week, Garner brings in 500 more packs of seeds. Who received those seeds in High Point? There are 21 agencies and communities that receive seeds. And here's my list. The distribution site was at the City of High Point Library. We did not feel comfortable having an in-person Seeds to Share event. Usually it's at the 2 offices, one in Greensboro and one in the City of High Point Library. So what we had to do was a drive-by. So the library allowed the recipients to drive through, and they just gave the bags out that way. And in Greensboro, we just had people to come and pick up. We're trying really to hope and pray that we can have an in-house, in-person event next year. Okay, I talked about the donors. Here they are, wonderful people. They help almost every year. We got a couple that were new to new to the list, but look at how massive they are. I'm gonna go back to Seeds to Share. Of course, when they make donations of produce, as a collection site in Greensboro, which is my office on Burlington Road. There's another collection site in High Point, and that's called the Triad Food Pantry. And listed are the High Point agencies that receive that produce, like the Backpack Beginnings and Second Harvest and Triad Health Project. And also there are some agencies in Greensboro, and I listed those as well. And Share the Harvest has been around over 10 years. Well, you know, you got to be careful what you pray for. We had so many seeds. We had to give away the ones that would not last in storage for over a year. So there was a pilot program. We did a free seed giveaway, and almost 200 people, general public, received free seeds. And here are some pictures of some happy people who were, oh my God, they were so glad to get some free seeds. Okay. This was another part of what we do for our communities. Miss Elaine Campbell with the North Carolina Unit Herb Society of America. She donated, her organization donated 200 herb plants, which is a total of $1,000. When she called me, she said, I want to make sure that our kids get to plant an herb. And I want them to have it. I want the school and school agencies to get this. And I said, yes, ma'am, I'm going to do that. And also sent her pictures of where the plants went. So there were 200 herb plants for school and youth teaching gardens, and I divided those plants into 20 flats of 10 plants each. Thank you, Willa. Willa was one of my distribution sites to pick up herbs. So 4 High Point schools and 4 High Point agencies received those free herb plants. And here's a picture of Fairview Elementary. They got right on it and start planting them. And there's a list of all the High Point gardens. Okay, garden sites. I love connecting with the community, and I love letting them know what kind of resources the North Carolina Cooperative Extension offer. And this was a great way to get to know everybody, and that's just to go out and just meet everybody. But there were several sites that I did get to go to and get to see, and that's Missy in that picture. And here's the list of the sites I was able to squeeze in during up until end of April. D Up was another great garden, great people there. Deacon Davis Urban Farm at the Heroes Center. That was pretty cool. Twin Oaks, that's Brian. Burns Hill Food Pantry, I got to get a tour. I got a tour from Mr. Jerry Mingo. And I want to talk to you about when I got hired. When I got hired, I had to do my new job and part of my old job. My old job consisted of a Visit NC Farms app. I was the administrator for that. They had not been able to replace me just yet, so I had to continue that process of working with farmers and agribusinesses. There's an app called the Visit NC Farms app. It's free. When you download it, it will give you all the locations of farms in your area, okay? So it doesn't matter what part of North Carolina you're in. As long as you're in North Carolina, there is an app that would pick up all the farms and farmers, some of them are restaurants, right in the palm of your hand. I also want to talk to you about the report. Okay, so we did a report of what the Visit NC Farms does for our community. This is April 22 report. In Guilford County, there were 1,135 downloads. So that's how many people downloaded the app. There was 8,600 users. They were able to see where we're located, what time is available, what are you able to pick, what's available as far as the produce. In Guilford County, there are 38 farms and agribusinesses listed, and 2 of them in High Point. There's the Grow in High Point, the Person Street, the Washington White Oak, the Grodega mobile unit is on this app, and Ingram's Family Farm is on this app. I attend the High Point Community Garden Leaders meetings. And I want to thank Gabby for coordinating that the whole time until I got able to take it over. This is one of our meetings. Partnerships and collaborations is another avenue of what I do. I am a member of the High Point Urban Agriculture Committee, and I attend all the monthly meetings. I collaborate with Mark Taylor. I've helped with the updating the vegetable brochures, updating the cooperative extension information on their library website. Also provide guidance and resources to Mark and to for his High Point Learning Center. And also was able to develop a video called Secrets to Homegrown Tomatoes with Dr. Sanjay Gu of the Extension Office at A&T State University. If you want to know about tomatoes, he's the man. He knows them inside and out. And I couldn't think of a better person to do this video with. Serve on the Greater High Point Food Alliance Board of Directors, and I attended the Greater High Point Food Alliance Food Summit and the Resilience High Point, and whatever else that is needed, we're there. The North Carolina Cooperative Extension received the Good Neighbor Award, and I was there to accept that award. And I was really in shock when that happened, because I felt so happy that we're making a difference. And somebody noticed, you know. My priorities for the year 2022 is to support the community garden leaders. I'm available on call for site visits and support. I got a workshop coming up. So I lead workshops in community gardens for the gardeners, work with the public school gardens in High Point, updated the City of High Point Gardens website, and I serve on the Urban Agriculture Committee. Here are the events through September. Share the Harvest in September 15th. Let's Move to Music through D-Up. They have an event on July 30th. I don't know if anybody mentioned that, but it's July 30th. Summer Solstice is coming up. That's through Moorhead Rec. August 6th. My outdoor presentation is Fall Foliage Frenzy, August 13th. And of course, well, you mentioned the Unity Festival. Here's information on our website where you can find some events like our upcoming free gardening classes. If you're having problems with a plant, or there's an insect on your plant that you cannot identify, if you snap a picture or bring the bug in, or bring let's say you have something wrong with your tomato, if you bring that in to our Master Gardener volunteers, they'll be able to look at it and help you figure out what it is. If you can't come in, call us or send us a picture. And that's the Master Gardener volunteers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Crystal.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything from the panel for Crystal? All right, well, let me go ahead and get started. I got a couple of things for you, Crystal. So first of all, it was good to meet you because Michelle had mentioned earlier in the year that there was a new person. So we knew you were new, we just didn't know who you were. And then, so how we met was I was at the Oakview Rec Center because I have a lot there. And all of a sudden you came in with some flyers and like, hey, you started to talk. And I was like, wait a minute, we were looking for you. And then you found out, hey, I was like, hey, we're connected with the CAC. And so we talked to Michelle a lot. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. Oh, I need information on that too. So it was like one of those things that happen when you go, wow, it was so good that we're able to come together.
Yes.
So.
It's a small world.
Exactly. So my first question I have for you is you had mentioned about the Cease to Share and the information was for this year. Do you know when, is that going to continue next year?
Yes, that's an every year event. It's usually in the like January, February, right before planting season. Okay. So right now you don't have a date, but you believe it's in January for sure next year. Yes, we just don't have a date. Okay. All right. And then my next given out year round. So if you need seeds now, I can get them to you. Oh, you still have seeds left now? Oh, okay. Remember, I have thousands of seeds. Okay, I didn't. Okay, got it. Okay, will do. Okay, that's good to know. And then number 2 was you mentioned that you're in the fall, you're gonna have a workshop. Do you know when that's going to be? Yeah, Saturday, August 13th. Okay. From 10 to 11 at the demonstration area of the Learning Center at the City of High Point Library. Oh, okay. It's outside. It's not inside. It's going to be a sure. Yes. Okay. All right. So it's August 13th. And what time is that going to be? 10 a.m. Yeah. And I'll send that out to Michelle. Okay. I'll send you the flyer. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Okay. Yeah. That's it. I'm just going through my notes here. Yep. That's all I had for you. Does anyone else have anything from the panel?
I don't. It was a great presentation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And then thank you so much, Willa and Crystal, for what y'all do with the gardens and stuff. It's very important. The statistics are there. But the thing that I love about what y'all do is y'all are personable people that talk to people. And a lot of times it's kind of hard to really say what you need. And so the information may be there. The seeds and all that stuff may be there, but when you have people like y'all that are, that will come up to you, talk to you, answer questions or whatever, it makes it easier to converse and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. So I really appreciate you guys and your passion for food and for food insecurity and for helping, and for gardening. And it shows. So it's like easy to talk to you and get the information you need. And that's what we need here in our community. And so I am so grateful that y'all are here, that people can actually see you, that's even streaming online now, and they can see who y'all are, see your faces with the name, and also are able to reach out to you guys, later on in the week or next week to know who you are and what you all do and how y'all really help us here in High Point. All right, anything else from anyone before we move forward? All right, thanks again, guys. Thanks, Willa and Crystal, for your presentation. Thank you. All right, and we look forward to seeing y'all out there. Oh, yeah. All right, next on the agenda is, I don't see Councilman Cyril on here. Does anyone have any information to share for the City Council? Okay, all right.
So we'll table that for next year as well. I mean, for next month as well. All right. Next on the agenda, let's go to announcements and comments. First off, next month's meeting is going to be August 25th. And so as we're talking here, what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have it here. I go ahead and put it on my schedule here. August 25th, that's Thursday, is going to be our next CAC meeting. So those of you, especially those of you online, you can go ahead and make sure that you put it in your, make a bookmark or mark of it. Because just like today, we have some great information to share for you guys. Everything here that affects those of us here in High Point and your neighbors. Next on the agenda, CSC members, is there anything that you want we should add to the agenda for next month's meeting? Okay.
I don't have anything to add to the agenda, but I do have a few announcements or event plugs that I'd love to make so you guys are aware of them.
Okay, that'll work. So let's do this. I got two, Michelle. One is something that Nina mentioned, which is operations in as much.
Mm-hmm.
And then also along with that is, I know there's a collaboration with the Housing Consultant Group. And I was wondering if we can tag that along, if they can make a presentation for us.
You're on
Sure,
mute.
we'll reach out to Sophia. Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
certainly.
you want them to be at the next meeting? Somebody
Yes,
from
ma'am.
Operation In As Much?
Yes, ma'am.
Not Operation In As Much, the Sophia, I think, is what he was saying, right? Housing
And
consultant.
Sophia for your housing consultant, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have the video for Operation In As Much.
Okay, wait, you want Sophia to come and talk about her program? And
Correct.
we're gonna do the video on Operation
We're
In
gonna
As
do a
Much.
video, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. We're gonna do a video for Operations in as much. And then if Sophia can speak for Housing Consultants Group, that would be great. Okay, all right, so other than that, let's go ahead to announcements. So Jessica?
Gabby's presentation actually made me think of this. But on Tuesday, August 16th, High Point Young Professionals is doing a morning fix event at Congdon Yards at 8:30. And a simple gesture, the Greensboro organization that Gabby mentioned in her presentation is actually our speaker that day. So she's going to talk about how difficult food pantry and food insecurity can be during the summer, and how to possibly, how we can get our organizations to maybe be a drop-off location or pickup location, things like that. And so when Gabby mentioned it, I was like, oh, I definitely need to tell this group about that. So if you have any young professionals in your organization that you want to attend, certainly I can send that information to Michelle. Also, Willa's presentation. Willa, I may want to reach out to you in that same young professionals vein. Our Young Professional Summit is going to be in November this year, and it's going to be entrepreneur focused. And so some of the, garden entrepreneur stuff you kind of spoke to, I thought could align with that really well. So I definitely might want to reach out to you to talk about that a little bit.
Would love to get some of our young entrepreneurs to come and talk about what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to say is I did learn about this event today. But I don't know if you guys know what a Special Blend is. Special Blend is a coffee shop in Greensboro that employs people with intellectual disabilities. And so Community in a Cup is their tagline. And First United Methodist Church on North Main Street is actually working to get a High Point location, either attached to their church or right next to the church. I'm not super well versed. I think I know what part of the church is in, but I'm a visual person. Honestly, I'd have to point to it. I couldn't explain. But they actually need to raise a certain amount of money to be able to break ground. So they are having a fundraising event Tuesday, August 23rd at 5:30 to 6:30. They're calling it Dessert Before Dinner. And it's just dessert and coffee reception. So you can learn more about it. You can make a donation, or you can just come and hang out with some great people and have dessert and coffee. So I thought that aligns really well with, some of the communities that we serve and the Arc of High Point and things like that. So I think that's could be a really cool addition to the downtown area. And I learned about that fundraising event today. So they're trying to, I don't know what their target goal is, but they're trying to raise enough money to be able to break ground. So if they can do that, then they're going to they get the green light and they're going to move forward with it. So pretty excited about that. And I can send Michelle that too. So
Yes,
share
yes,
with the
please.
group and
Yes,
stuff.
yes. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Jessica.
That's it.
All right. Anyone else has any comments or announcements to share?
I do.
Okay.
I won't mention Operation Inasmuch since we'll have a video next month, and we'll probably talk about that and talk about the dates and everything for the next event and the neighborhood that we will be participating in on that particular time. But I will tell you guys that UNCG Center for Communities, what is it? Community Studies, I think it is. They're looking at doing a tenant leadership academy here in High Point. They're wanting to start in September, like mid-September. They're planning on meeting like every other Saturday for about 6 weeks to pretty much be able to talk to people about their rights as tenants, and have lawyers and different people available that's going to be presenting to whoever attends. This will be a pilot program for them. They have been doing it in Greensboro now for 3 years, and I think they've had 60 plus graduates from this academy, and they said it's very successful. So they're wanting to do that in High Point. And as we get more information, we'll be sending it out to you. If they start the pilot program in High Point, it was going to be at our location on 4th Street. And, we're just wanting to get people to come. And I thought it might be good, if you guys would actually attend maybe even the first sessions that they're doing, because you need to be able to talk to residents as you are in the community and moving around the city. When people come to you about, what should I do, or this is what's going on, you would know where to direct them to, and you have a little bit more information, about, the topic that they're talking about as it relates to, housing and where they live and that type of stuff. So just wanted you guys to be aware of that.
What was that date, Michelle? I'm sorry.
Well, they're going to start in September. I don't have, it's going to be like mid-September, but I don't have the actual dates. They're actually working through those details now. Okay. And as soon as I get that information, I will definitely send it to you.
Okay.
And as we get flyers about different types of things that's going on in the city, I try to make sure that we send it, to you guys. Sometimes I might miss one or two because it gets to be very busy. And I don't always get that out, but I try to send that information out to you all so that you can be aware as you all are representing the city of High Point through your wards. You would at least know what's going on and what's happening.
Sometimes I feel so in the know from the emails that Michelle gets. I'm like, oh, well, the city emailed me this. So, just so you guys know, they're like, how'd you know that? I always appreciate your emails.
I agree.
And then
I don't know, I'm on the list. I don't know what to tell you guys. So I appreciate those emails.
You're quite welcome. And Aurel, I would just like to tell you, thank you for showing up at the presentation for the CDBG presentation that Nina gave to the council. And thank you for speaking on behalf of the CAC. We really, really appreciate that. And so that was awesome. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for what you all do. There's a couple of things, but before I finish here, Rob, just want to know if Robert, did you have anything to share?
No, everything I was going to share has already been shared. So thanks, Crystal. Thanks, Aurel. Thanks, Danita. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, Megan. Ms. Kozlowski's gone, but thank her as well. So no, I'm good. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Orel, I have
Yes.
Habitat sent me this and asked me to share it. I'm gonna pull
Sure.
up the flyer.
Yep. Go ahead.
They're having a Make Home Ownership a Reality orientation meeting at 4th Street on Saturday, August 6th at 9 a.m. For their home ownership application process. The flyer just says be prompt for those that plan to attend. They can't accommodate children at the orientation. And you do have to reserve your seat. So we can send out that flyer. But I just wanted to share that as well.
And these are for individuals that are looking to purchase a home through
Right.
Habitat.
Right.
And so they normally use our location, but with the pandemic, that was closed down. And so now slowly we're opening the location back up for people to be able to use. And so we'll take that flyer that Megan has and send it out to you guys, just in case you know someone that might want to attend. And when she says prompt, she means prompt. A half a second after 9 o'clock. If you're not in the building, the door gets locked and you don't get in. So, and I think it's, at first I was like, oh, wow. Somebody might have read it to traffic or something. But when she explained the reason, because these are people that are wanting to be homeowners and people that are going to be paying mortgage payments and, a lot of other stuff. And, the lesson is you got to be on time.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that when she explained it, but I would tell you, I've been there. And if you're not there at 9 o'clock in the building, you don't get in. So, but it's a good program. It helps people become homeowners.
Thank you for that, Megan. You actually said something that I wanted to share with the group. This past weekend, I was one of the volunteers that helped on one of the Habitat for Humanity homes on Cable Street, the house that we did last year. I helped the next one next to it, volunteer on that one. And I just wanted to share with the group and to you guys, Michelle and Nina, what you guys are providing with the grants and stuff and the help that y'all provide, it means a lot to our neighbors and what y'all doing. Y'all pack compassion for High Point. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because when I was there Saturday volunteering, they had the new homeowners that's going to take over the house. They also was volunteering, and they were telling us thank you, for helping. But what got me was that first house that we did on Cable Street. The neighbor came out. She came out with her kids, and she came over to the house and said, "I want to thank y'all so much." She's been in the house, I think now a year, or since February. I'm sorry, since February. She said, "Thank y'all so much for what you do. I truly appreciate y'all volunteering and helping build this home for me." So I just want to let y'all know that it is heartfelt, and people in the community do appreciate what you do for them because it means a lot. I mean, to be a homeowner, she's also starting her own garden too as well. So that's why, for example, the stuff that Willa and Crystal that y'all are doing, and providing seeds and all of these information to help folks know how to plant and how to garden. They're using the same information to make their homes better, and also people will be able to eat better as well and feed their families. So I just wanted to share with you guys here the work that y'all do, and even CSC members, the things that we're doing here. The people in the community truly appreciate it, and it's making an impact.
And around, maybe we can get the name of that person and hook her up with Crystal, because if
Sure.
she's starting her own garden and Crystal can sort of maybe help her and give her seeds or something of that nature. So maybe
Sure.
we can work out something with
Okay.
Susan Wood to get her name, and then let Crystal or Susan contact, her, so that she can get in touch with Crystal and maybe
Okay.
become a part of, the community garden leaders, and maybe attend some of the community workshops and stuff like that, and some things that Growing High Point has, as she is actually building her garden.
Sure thing. Okay, I will do that.
I just added my email information in chat.
Yeah, got it. Yep, thank you. Okay, is anything else anyone wants to share when it comes to announcements and comments? All right, y'all know what's next on the agenda. So if there's nothing else, it's next to yep, thank you. Thank you so much, Willa, and thank you so much, Crystal, once again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is for adjournment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Awesome. So the motion was made by Robert, and I'll say seconded by Jessica and Tim at the same time. Seconded. All right. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you
Thank you, guys.
all.